Somewhere in a sealed jar, there is honey older than most civilizations, and it is still safe to eat. Archaeologists have found ancient honey that was still recognizable after thousands of years, sitting quietly while empires rose and fell around it. That is not a fluke, and it is not magic. It is chemistry, and once you understand it, honey stops looking like a simple sweetener and starts looking like one of the most stubborn substances on the planet. Start with water, or rather, the lack of it. Honey has very little water in it, and water is exactly what most bacteria need to survive and multiply. Take away the water, and you take away the one thing microbes cannot live without. But honey does not just sit there passively low on moisture, it actively fights back. Honey is packed with sugar, and that sugar pulls moisture out of any microbe unlucky enough to land in it. Picture a sponge dropped into a bowl of salt. The salt does not attack the sponge, it simply drags every drop of water out of it until there is nothing left to sustain life. Honey does the same thing to bacteria, yeast, and mold, cell by cell, using nothing but concentrated sugar. For any tiny invader, honey is less like food and more like a desert with no way out. There is nowhere to hide from that kind of pressure, no pocket of moisture left to cling to, no way to rehydrate and multiply. Most foods spoil because bacteria find a comfortable, damp environment to settle into. Honey removes that comfort entirely, turning what should be a hospitable meal into a hostile trap. And bees do not stop there. While making honey, they use enzymes that help produce small amounts of hydrogen peroxide, a compound your own body recognizes as a disinfectant. That gives honey an extra antimicrobial layer stacked on top of the sugar and the dryness, a second line of defense, working at the microscopic level. Low water, high sugar, and a trickle of natural antiseptic. 3 separate barriers, all in one golden substance, all aimed at the same tiny enemies. Put those 3 defenses together, and you get a food that can sit for an astonishingly long time if it is sealed properly. It may crystallize, darken, or change texture over the years, and none of that means it has gone bad. Crystallization is honey's sugar settling back into a solid form, not decay creeping in. Darkening is a slow chemical shift, not rot. If a jar of honey turns grainy or cloudy on a shelf, gentle warming can often turn it smooth again, coaxing it right back to the syrupy texture you started with. Spoiled food does not come back with a little heat. Honey does, because it was never spoiled to begin with. Here is the part that makes it stranger. Honey does not begin as the thick golden liquid you pour onto toast. It begins as watery flower nectar, something far closer to sugar water than to the substance sitting shelf-stable in your pantry. Bees are the ones who transform it, and the process is almost absurd when you say it out loud. They pass the nectar between their mouths, adding enzymes each time, breaking down complex sugars into simpler ones the whole colony can use. Then they fan it with their wings inside the hive, beating the air across thousands of open cells until much of the water evaporates away. What goes in as thin, perishable liquid comes out as something that can outlast the people who first tasted it. A hive, in other words, is basically a tiny food preservation factory, running on enzymes, airflow, and patience instead of electricity. Long before refrigerators, freezers, or vacuum seals existed, bees had already solved the problem of long-term storage using nothing but evaporation, sugar, and chemistry. No engineers, no machines, just insects working in the dark on a problem humans would not seriously tackle for thousands more years. Every trick modern preservation leans on today, drying food out, packing it with sugar, sealing it away from air, bees were quietly practicing inside a hive long before anyone wrote it down as science. So the next time you see a jar of honey sitting on a shelf, look at it differently. It is not just a sweetener, and it is not just a topping for tea or toast. It is a survival technology, engineered by insects, long before humans understood the science behind it. A golden substance built to outlast seasons, outlast droughts, and sometimes, quietly, sealed away in a tomb or a ruin, to outlast entire civilizations. Follow for more random things you may not know.